Okay, SCM Nation, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I really thought that this book was going to go in a certain direction. When I thought it was going to go right, it went left. But that is not a bad thing. My name is Dorian, this is SCM Comics. We are covering the complete Mister Sinister series, and today we're covering Immoral X-Men number 3. So as the thumbnail says, we are 1,000 years into Mister Sinister. And our narrator for this book is Rasputin 4. So she says that she feels like she's made of steel emotionally and not just physically, because she feels like Sinister is starting to break. She's like, they have chased down leads for lifetimes and they are no closer than when they first started. Now this latest lead has led them to one of X's prayer worlds. Now there are a bunch of these type of worlds, and you'll see why that is important here in a second. Now somebody on this world might have information about where Sinister's lab might be located, and it's her job to try to find out the information without Exodus actually catching on. So as you can see on the next page, Exodus is huge. I mean, if he hasn't ascended to godhood, he is really close. So when it comes to Hope Summers and her being the mutant messiah, he pretty much shook that off like Taylor Swift. So Sinister is telling Rasputin to hurry up, but to be careful, because if Exodus realizes that he's still alive, he says it's going to be bad for everybody, but especially him. Might be 1,000 years, but he's still Sinister. Now the reason why they call these prayer worlds, because all these people that are in these pods are just praying jubilations to Exodus. That's what Rasputin said, and they're like on loop, so they're continuously saying good praises to Exodus. So she's trying to search through it, and she said it's trying to find like a needle in a haystack, but she eventually finds something, and then she messes up and she says a prayer of thanks, not to Exodus. And obviously Exodus finds out. So she teleports back to the ship, and I imagine the conversation kind of went like this. Rasputin gets back and she goes, all right, let's go. Sinister's like, did you get it? Rasputin's like, yeah, let's go. And Sinister's like, he's following you, isn't he? And she goes, yeah, let's go. So Sinister's like, bloody hell, he's after us. We got no other choice. And he sends like a distress call to the neighboring prayer world. So Exodus sends out this crazy psychic blast, and it's about to hit the ship and destroy it, when all of a sudden it just disappears, and he goes, what? And all of a sudden this other Exodus is coming his way, and he goes, heretic. And then I guess we could say the assistant Exodus goes, heretic. So the reason why this is happening, and this is only an assumption, is that I guess they abandoned a long time ago there only being one clone active at a time, because there are a bunch of Exodus, and I guess there was a war that happened, or at least that's what Rasputin 4 was explaining, and I guess there was a ceasefire and each Exodus would stay on their own prayer world, but if one was launched, the neighboring one would be launched too, you know, as almost like you launch your nukes, now we're gonna launch our nukes, that kind of thing. And then Sinister goes, mutually assured destruction. It's a classic. Let's go. So then Rasputin 4 goes on to say how these two Exodus sets are going to pretty much go at it, and the body count's going to be enormous, and she would be sad by it, but she's heartened because the body count has already been enormous, and it's been enormous for like hundreds of years. She goes, we're in a universe where planets of corpses orbit dead stars. So Sinister goes to Rasputin and asks her, did she decode the message? And she goes, yes, I have. She says it's in a space-time location, and the message is in Old English, and it says we should be on the same side. And Sinister, the look on his face, you can tell he instantly knows who this is. So as they're traveling to this location, we really get to see how bad things are. So we see this crazy ass hole in space that I guess Magic made when she tried to bring Limbo into reality. To me, Magic was just as crazy as Hope was. So then they're passing through a war zone where Dream, I guess that's Professor Xavier, and the Red Diamond Fleet, that's Emma Frost, have been beefing, and this is the outcome of that beef. And then they also have to avoid being chased down by Kitty Pryde, because she's still doing the pirate thing, except for she took it to a galactic level, and she has a bunch of different ships, and they're all following her, and I guess once she catches you, she pretty much disposes of you and then takes your ship. And I guess Sinister goes to Rasputin and tells her that Kitty Pryde used to be one of the kindest people on the Quiet Council. And Rasputin's like, I kind of find that hard to believe. But then she goes, I suppose all things are relative. So they finally get to their destination, and Rasputin goes, for it to get all the way out here, it would have had to left Earth even earlier than what we did. And Sinister's like, I just need you to retrieve it. So she goes out and gets it. She doesn't even bother to put on a spacesuit because for, I guess, a little bit of a time, she can survive in space, or she can adapt to survive in space. And she retrieved the item, but she doesn't know what it is. So she gives it to Sinister, and she's like, what is it? And he goes, this is technology that is very old. I used to use it back before I was me. And then Rasputin goes, you look unsettled, sir. And he goes, because I am. I want to listen to this, but I want to listen to it alone, so please do not disturb me. So he goes to his private quarters and he puts it together, and it's like a sonograph. I believe it's a sonograph. Don't quote me on it. I'm not sure, but I believe that's what it is. And he starts listening to it, and it's Destiny. And she just starts spilling the beans. Or is it T now? It might be T. I think it's saying it's T now. I'll go with T. About how her, Mystique, Orbit Solaris, and Storm stole Sinister's lab. His lab. Why would she say Sinister's lab when she's talking to Sinister directly? Somewhat directly. His lab. My bad. How the lab is being held at Orbit Solaris' war farm. At least it was being held there. But if you read Storm in the Brotherhood of Mutants #2, we all know it's being held in a totally different place. If you didn't read it, your boy got you. Just click the link in the description. She also explains the reason why she did it, because this is the timeline where Mystique lived the longest. But since he's listening to this message, Mystique is dead, and now it's time to end this timeline. She also says that once he resets the timeline, that she will join him. So if you read Immortal X-Men, then you know that Destiny's always been on Sinister, and she doesn't trust him at all. But she wants to work with him this time because she doesn't trust Sinister with his plans, but she feels like if she's there to help, then maybe there might be a timeline where Mystique lives. So obviously, as this is going on, Rasputin 4 is eavesdropping. So Sinister thinks that she's done talking, and he goes, well, thank you, Irene. I'll consider your offer. I'll probably reject it, but it's only the polite thing to. Then all of a sudden, all you hear is one more thing. I know you're trying to create your own dominion, but trust me, you fail. I'm not trying to trick you. I'm just letting you know you fail. The only way for us to all to survive is for you to give up on it. And Rasputin 4 has heard enough. She now realizes that Sinister has lied to her, that they're not trying to save the universe. They're actually trying to destroy the universe. So now obviously Rasputin 4 is ready to kill Sinister. Sinister all of a sudden makes these guns appear, and she's like anti-phase pistols. She's like, sir, I'm assaulted. And she attacks Sinister. He gets to like some cargo bay and then closes the door. And Sinister's like, I gave you the finest stable gene cocktail I could. Telepathy, a steel body, intangibility, force fields, a healing factor. It's also like, I didn't even put in my usual self-destruction in, and I gave you free will. Then he blows the compartment that she's in, and he's like, but I didn't give you flight. That was cold. Excuse my oldness. And then he's like, a shame. She was excellent work. My finest. Perhaps when I get back home, I'll make another. But first, I need to do this dance with Destiny. Now that was some really good play on words. So he's flying back to Earth, of all places, and he's passing by Saturn and Jupiter, and he's like, the Kimji Uridu, I think that's how you pronounce his name, excuse me if I mispronounced it. He was a mutant whose flesh, he was composed of flesh and machine parts, which he can mold to anything he can imagine. So you know Sinister had to mess with that, and now his power is like consuming planets, as you do. And then he's like, in this hell universe, this too is also where I will hide, on a planet that is pretty much comprised of cancer cells. Then all of a sudden, all you hear is doom, only doom. And then we see it says broken down Doombot, and all of a sudden, the original Myra, who is more machine than she is human now, steps out and goes to Sinister like, you have changed. And he pretty much tells her, I have a way to fix all this. Would you follow me? And she goes to the edge of the universe. And he's like, good. That's exactly where we're going. So now we're at the court of the Red Diamond. This is pretty much Emma Frost's outfit. And the reason why they call it the Red Diamond is not just because of what's on her forehead. It's because she has become the living crimson gem of Sidorak. So now this intrigues me, because now I want to know, how strong is Emma Frost right now? Because when Kane Markle had the gem, he became the Juggernaut with a portion of Sidorak's power. But she literally is the gem. So does she only have a small portion of Sidorak's power, or does she have like a hell of a lot more? Because Sidorak is a beast. He's one of the old guys that got chased away by the Demiurge. The Demiurge is a certified beast, but don't take nothing away. Sidorak is nothing to play with. But that's another discussion for another day. So Beast is there and he's looking crazy as hell. And he tells Emma that he's had AI systems pretty much set up everywhere, pretty much since almost the beginning. And one of the Doombots is one of his AI systems. And he lets her know that pretty much Sinister is still alive and that he recruited Myra McTaggart to go look for something. And then that's when she starts putting two and two together. She always knew that he was hiding something, but she didn't know what. She found out a little bit when she was putting boot to heel to him. But now if he's recruiting Myra, now she knows that he must have cloned Myra and he can pretty much reset this whole timeline. And she can't have that because, in her words, she's almost won. So let me start off by saying that I perfectly understand that this is a comic book, and to tell a good story, sometimes you have to leave common sense out of it. So in saying that, none of this stuff with Krakoa could be possible without Sinister. He is literally the smartest person in the room when it comes to the Quiet Council. I completely understand that he didn't know where the original Myra was at, but he has spent 1,000 years trying to look for this Myra engine, and all he had to do was find the original Myra, use her signature to find where the engine was at. Now Destiny knew where Myra was at, that's how he found her so fast. I just can't believe that he didn't come up with this a very long time ago and just spent his time trying to find the original Myra versus trying to find the Myra engine, which, as we can see, took 1,000 years to do. As Jay-Z would say, this is just my thoughts. This is just something that I'm feeling at the time. Back to the story. So now it switches back to Myra and Sinister, and Sinister pretty much fills in Myra on what he's been doing for over 1,000 years. And she's like, I can't believe you kept this a secret from me. And he goes, well, if you would have found out, you would have got a little pissed. And when you get a little pissed, you get a little punchy. So they make it to the World Farm where the Myra engine is being held, which I know if you read Storm in the Brotherhood of Mutants, you know that they took that somewhere else. But you also know that Over Solaris pulled him out Hardy and deleted himself. So if he's not there, why not take it back there? And then as soon as they get there, they get shot out the sky. But they survive, even a Doombot. And they walk up on this dude that looks just like Odin. I mean, when I first read this, I'm like, what the hell's Odin doing here? That is not Odin. That is John Ironfire. And it's funny because Sinister goes, so you're telling me that Storm's attack dog now has an attack dog? And John's like, has Emma run out of scouts? And Sinister has Supremers let him know that he's not with Emma and that he is the original Sinister. And Sinister's like, if Emma knows, then she's on her way and this place can't fall to Emma. And John's like, look, we've been surviving for 900 years. Whatever she got, we can endure. Because the goddess says, if we fall, then the universe falls with it. And Sinister's like, yes, your goddess is right, but I also have some additional information that you need to know. So on the last page, we have Rasputin 4 still floating in space. Like I said before, she can survive for a little bit, but she can't survive forever. And then somebody's talking to her telepathically saying, if you want revenge, I can help you with that. And Rasputin 4 is like, wherever you are, you got a deal.